Breaking news, a Grammy Award nominee, Chris Brown, is accused of assault and battery.
She told police that Chris Brown struck her with his fist.
Hughley was arrested early this morning for killing Yardley Love.
Thousands turned out to last night's somber vigil.
It's a story we've heard many times over, about 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime, and 1 out of 6 women has been a victim of rape. I decided to explore abusive relationships at our own campus in UCSC. Catherine, a senior majoring in earth science, agreed to speak to me about her 3-year relationship with her former boyfriend, Thomas.
We met through fencing, and he kept trying to see me, but I was kind of shy at the time, so I kept kind of pushing him away, but still wanting to talk to him. And finally, after I knew him for almost a year, I just realized how sweet he was, and like he kind of won me over. You know what? Why not just give him a try? He's really different than I am.
And different they were. Tom grew up from a lower economic class and with an abusive stepfather. Although not all abused children grow up to be abusers, studies show they have a higher risk of becoming one.
It really hurts to imagine anyone hurting Tom as a little kid, because I imagine he was a really cute, really trouble-causing little kid that was always running around and seeing what trouble he could get into. But at the same time, like, it's really hard to imagine that he could take that on me too. The first time I ever saw him angry at me was just one night when he snapped. The person I trusted and I knew for a very long time, who my friends liked and my family adored, suddenly one day, like, just turned on me. And then he said, "Are we having sex tonight?" And I said, "You know, I don't really feel very good, so no." And he got kind of annoyed. I was like, "You can't be mad at me over that, seriously?" And then he started to tell me why it was my fault, and then he just told me everything he hated about me and tried to think of everything he could say to take me down. He told me that I could go kill myself. So, like, I was like a really intense night because I was saying I didn't know what to do without you. Like, I don't know how I'd live without you. And he just said, "You know, fine." Like, he told me I'd get lost on the way to try and figure out how to do that. And it really shocked me. I ended the relationship as soon as he had that outburst of anger at me. And his response was to say, okay, he sounded really devastated. And a few days later, he told me that I deserved somebody better. And I kind of thought, you know what, in a month, he's going to ask for me back.
As Catherine predicted, Tom and her began speaking again. However, experts say that separation between partners is where victims are at the highest risk.
A month later, he was very sorry. And he seemed more like the person I knew. And I said, okay, just as long as you don't expect, like, sex or getting back together, if you just want to, like, have a weekend together where we kind of, like, reestablish some sort of friendliness so that we can move on from this in a good way. So he did come over, and he seemed to want sex. And for some reason I let him shower with me because I wanted to be close. I just wanted closeness with him. And when I was still in my towel and we were in my room, he was kissing me, and that was okay. But then he tried to do more, tried to start, you know, getting things going, and I was like, no, please, I don't want to do this. And he tried to start convincing me. I said, no, like, I'm not going to. And he just held on to me, and he wouldn't let me go. And he kind of forced himself inside me, and I was saying, stop. And after about the 3rd time, he finally let me go and covered me with my towel. He kind of just closed down. He, like, crawled in my bed and pulled the blankets over his head, and then I left the apartment for a while. I told one friend, he was like, "Oh, what's up?" I said, "Oh, I'm having a crazy day." So he said, "What happened?" And I said, "I think I was raped." Like, I don't know, sort of. I didn't say anything to anyone else for 3 days because I felt like a drama queen for calling it that. I was trying to figure out if I was right or what that was.
Rape has a sexual component to it, so there has to be some sort of sexual act that is against the will of the other person, or the victim is unconscious of the act.
Julie Snyder is the victim advocate for the Santa Cruz Police Department. She has been working on issues concerning rape and domestic violence for 20 years.
A lot of times it's the same underlying factors, power and control, right? Someone is feeling powerless about something, and so they take control from someone else because that makes them feel more powerful.
I asked Julie and Catherine for advice to victims of rape and domestic violence.
I'm big on documentation. I think it comes in handy in the long run. Certainly by reporting it, you're documenting it, and you're making it a part of a record, you're making it part of a history.
People say things like, you've got to, like, file charges against them, and I'm not sure if that was the right thing for me to do.
But I also realized that the very act of doing that creates an issue of unsafeness for a victim, or at least the potential exists. So if she's going to call 911, what happens if he grabs the phone from her? What happens if he uses a weapon against her because she's on the phone? Like, there's all of these things. And it's a question that we get asked as advocates quite a bit. You know, what should we do? And our standard answer is whatever you need to do to make sure you're safe. And then call the police.
Catherine offers a more personal approach for survivors. Catherine offers
I'm not sure how well my experience relates to other people's, but for me it was helpful to be able to forgive him. Doesn't mean I have to trust him or let him near me again, but it was really helpful to me to not hate him. I mean, you have to be angry sometimes and let yourself feel angry, but like, I think when you forgive them, you don't have to hate yourself for being with them too, because you admit that you saw something in them that you liked too, that there was something special about them. I think the most beautiful things are the things that come from something that originally like hurt or was broken or was a sad place, because this is a broken world and most of the beauty in it is just the contrast of something new coming from something that hurt before.